Let's go.
Morning, Charlie. Welcome back. Another week. Can you believe it? And a lot's changed for me in the week. I'm all the way in Cape Town. So how's your week been?
From UK to Cape Town. Grant, my week's been busy, working on some interesting stuff. I'm seeing quite a bit of clients, so it's a balancing act at the moment, but I'm enjoying the excitement. Lots of things to think about, lots of challenges, but really enjoy. I'm really in a state of joy, embracing all of it, and loving every moment. Truly, yeah.
Fantastic. And I mean, with your kind of work and with your impact you're making on people, I can see that joy spreading and I mean, using that feeling just to make a huge impact. I mean, I think it's why when I speak to a lot of people, you know, what are you looking for? What's your purpose? And a lot of them are, you know, they want to have that feeling of making an impact on people's lives. Yeah. And I think it's that joy. From what I know, it's that happiness and that feeling that you get when you know you've made an impact in a person's life, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's great fulfillment in that. Although I don't think one should derive your joy from that. You know, you should be in a state of joy with who you are and what your life is about. And you know, helping people should be a bonus. You know, like people feel that, and you know, because if you stop helping people, you know, and your fulfillment and your joy is based on that, then you're going to have to find something to externally fulfill yourself, which ultimately is not a win-win game.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, also I do feel that people look at, you know, my purpose is to help people. My purpose is to make an impact on people. And it's like, okay, I get it. I understand why you want to, because as I say, it does give you a lot of power and I mean power in a very positive way.
Yeah.
But you need to stop first of all and look internally, because I think, to your point, if I help someone, I feel really great. They walk away fulfilled for that moment, and you never see them again.
Yeah,
you lose something. You lose. I mean, you have the feeling, but it's almost like an addiction, like a smoking or a drug that disappears. So you go off and you crave that feeling of joy, and you never actually, if you don't work on yourself, you don't create a state where you can, you know, wake up late, get out of bed, and be smiling with your life because you're just happy with it.
Yeah, Grant, like coming back to discipline again, you know, like joy, it's something that you cultivate from within yourself, you know, through what you focus on. You know, you can focus on everything that you don't have. You can focus on everything that you can't control, and all the things you don't want. You can focus on that, and you're probably not going to be in a state of joy ever. You'll probably be anxious and depressed. But if you train yourself and you discipline yourself, you know, into a new way of thinking, focusing on the things you do have, focusing on the things that you do want, on your vision, and focusing on what you can control, your shifts changes very quickly, you know, and it's all internal stuff, and it's just a matter of focus, where you train yourself to automatically focus your energy on. You know, that determines your state of being internally. It's not relying on external fulfillment to now feel happy, get a kick, and now I'm okay for the day, you know, because I helped someone.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I mean, you use the word focus there, and it is really focus, and it's moving forward. It's not only about your joy; it's about anything that you do. And I think if you understand that things that you focus on, and that you really put your mind to, you open up the universe for those things to happen. And by focusing it on, you actually move through the door and start getting closer to what you want to achieve and or what you're focusing on it. And it's like, you know, when you drive around, you look at a car, a Porsche, for example, and you haven't seen it in a while, and all of a sudden you open it up and you start focusing on it, you'll see everything around you. And it's there. It's always been there. You just have been blocked off to it. So mindset is obviously a massive thing. I mean, we look at it in our business and our lives and wherever we go. And I listen to people's language a lot since I've started this journey with you, and I listen to the way they talk, and I can immediately pick up with whether it's negative. And a lot of people don't even realize that they are negative about their lives or where they are, or whether it's positive, and it's absolutely open. And I think what's amazing is people are almost embarrassed to be this positive or the state of joy. They're a little bit, they don't want people to be skeptical of them. I think maybe it's the way or the life that we grew up and the boundaries that were set, that they expect people to knock at the door with like white jackets. You can't be happy all the time. You've got to just be normal, and you've got to sort of be that. But I think in today's, and again, going back probably to the Great Awakening, where people are realizing that they can change their state, and that they can be happy, and that they can be grateful for things that are around there and out there, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, 100%, Grant. Like, I mean, true inner fulfillment and true joy means that I can be grateful and happy for no reason, for absolutely no reason. That's the whole point. That's where you tap into your inner power. You're no more placing your joy or your happiness or your fulfillment on external things, because that's always going to be a losing game, because anything externally can always be taken away. But just purely being grateful for being alive, right? What are the odds of actually being alive in a human body? Who knows? I don't know, but it's an experience, and I can choose to get excited about it or not. And that's what it all comes down to. And I think it's comes down largely to focus, Grant. Like, a lot of people, especially in this day and age, it's so easy to get distracted, right? There's so many things calling for our attention. I mean, if you get yourself on a phone and you start scrolling through social media, you can get caught up for a long time while you were just actually looking for something, and you go down rabbit holes. So focus is a massive thing that I see is lacking, especially in the youth. I see it in the corporate space. People are so easily distracted, and it comes to, once again, the mind being a muscle, right? Just like our physical muscles, and if we want strong muscles, we need to train them often, continuously. And if we want to develop strong focus, we need to put practices in place that allow our minds to focus, like meditation, like focusing on your breath, doing some breath work, doing art, or focusing on tasks, but actually applying yourself in a disciplined way so that you don't get distracted, because distraction is a dream killer. It literally can suck the life from you, because we create with our attention, and it's going to be at the mercy and create things that, or give our energy and our attention to people who just want that, suck that. There's corporations, there's very clever marketing things and advertising and all of these things that are designed to captivate your attention. And if your focus isn't strong, you'll be pulled in all directions and making a lot of other people's dreams come true, and not really living a life that you design.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about last night before I went to bed, sort of scrolling through the gram, looking on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And within an hour, just sitting on my phone, with my thumb moving up and down, just scrolling mindlessly, not even thinking about anything. And I think it's really dangerous. I mean, I have like strict disciplines in the morning with, I don't go on my phone until I've done my practices and I've worked through my time, and now I've added an exercise routine to that as well, which is, it's really difficult, but your mind automatically reaches for that phone, because I suppose you feel that connection with people. Someone must be looking for me. Someone must be out there that needs me or wants to communicate or connect with me. And you can get lost in that world so quickly. You can, before you know it, like I say, an hour on that phone and you're done.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that I don't think a lot of people, and you mentioned it's in there, is that focus, and it's a practice, it's a drill, training your
Yeah.
brain. And I don't think a lot of people, I certainly didn't. I was aware of distractions. I'm aware of all the noise and everything out there, and I'm aware of focus. But I was never really, I won't say aware, because obviously you know, but I was never really into actually doing the practice and the discipline of it
Yeah.
until, again, I started on the program and I started working really hard, and I started realizing the benefits. And I mean,
Yeah.
the benefits are huge, and
Yeah.
it's common sense. It's very obvious. As I'm thinking about it, I'm going to say, when you just start writing down 5 things, 3 things that you're grateful, and 3 intents for the day, that's a focus. That's an immediate way of putting your mind towards what you want to do and what you're grateful for. But just that little step, I'm interested to know how many people you think are aware of making that little step will make such a big change in their life.
Yeah, Grant, like there's a few things that come up for me here, and it's like a lot of people have been conditioned. We get, like you say, you're scrolling through your phone, and it actually releases dopamine, because it's that instant gratification. You see cool pictures, you see those like, so you are now training your brain to get these dopamine hits, and that's how we become addicted to scrolling for 20 minutes or an hour on the phone. But here's the scary part, right? People get so lost in their phones. I mean, there's some like trackers, social media trackers, that people spend on average 6 hours a day, right? I don't know where they get these numbers from, but on social media, right? Now imagine the metaverse, right? People feel so unfulfilled with their lives that they spend them like 6 hours a day looking at a screen in their hand. Now imagine you get offered a 3D world, right? Where you put this thing on and you can basically be whoever you want to be and go wherever you want to go. Do you think people are going to spend more time there or less? That's like a scary thing to think about.
It is crazy. It is crazy. And if you just take that statement, Charlie, and you go, if you put a 3D glasses on and you can become anything you want to become, like, in fact, in our current universe, you can become anything you want to become, I believe.
Exactly.
I believe it. I do really believe it 100%. And I think,
Yeah.
if I look back at my life, I'm living proof of it. I've managed to morph and to change and to become things I want to become.
Yeah.
I think that it's the drug that they're selling with the metaverse and with all these things, is that they're selling the same dream, but they're telling you it's a lot easier now, because now you just have to probably click on which body you want, which car you want, which where you, and eventually, I mean, again, like I'm in the tech space, we work in the tech space, and we're busy working in the metaverse at the moment. And I can see the future coming. I can see where they're going. We're doing a lot of research and things like that. And it is going to just be a money-making world, obviously, because as much as everyone loves tech and loves Facebook and the gram and all these wonderful things, there are money-making machines, and they are owned by the richest men in the world, which, good or evil, not sure, have my own views on it.
Yeah.
But I can honestly believe it's going to be this sort of drug with the free taste, get in, addiction, and off you go. And, tech in the wrong hands, and this in the wrong hands is dangerous. And at a dinner party last night, we were talking about these recordings of your list, people listening in, and all this thing. And think about how humans are just going to give up everything just to have that sort of quick dose of what it feels like to get on a private jet and to fly to wherever they want and do that sort of thing. And they actually start selling their souls and their lives in order just to get that quick taste. It's quite a frightening thought.
No, it is. Like, I mean, mental health, and physical health comes into play. Now you've got these goggles on. People are going to stop leaving their homes, Grant. Like, if that is the case, and these things become available to people, like I said, and this is where I think responsibility comes in, and really, like I said, once again, that focus, that discipline, right? About deciding, right? What type of life do I want to live? Do I want to live it spending 4 hours a day looking at a screen? Or do I want to actually do things? Do I want to get out? Do I want to move my body in ways that will sustain me, for years to come? Do I want to have real connections with real people? Yes, online is great. It's got so many benefits and it's made life so much easier. But I think there's a balancing point where it can become dangerous, and that is up to each human being to take responsibility and develop their disciplines so that they don't necessarily need to stare at a screen to get those dopamine hits. Find other ways, exercise, fulfillment, events, connecting with people, with family, like really getting out there, if you look at outside of the Western culture, if you look at Peru or the East, South America, these people are so fulfilled and so happy, and they live in jungles, they live in rural areas, but they're always dancing, they're always doing art, they're always moving their bodies, they're always playing games, they're always having ceremonies and festivals and these things, So I think like a big thing that's been coming up for me is that thing that we mentioned earlier. It's that true fulfillment and true joy, right? Is what you see on a screen, is that really giving you joy, or is it just a dopamine kick? Because what is the repercussions on your mental health and your physical health, right, of sitting behind a screen the whole time and not really, living your life, in a healthy way. And when I mean healthy, I don't just mean what you put inside your body. I mean how you express yourself, how you move yourself, who you connect with. And is it real connection, or is it just having a chat online?
Yeah. And as you're saying this, surely, like, my mind's just racing because, and again, last night I was having a really good conversation at dinner, and I and I've said it before on to you and online, is I believe we're becoming weaker and weaker as a species as we get older. We're looking at, and that's where sort of once where Warriors was born from. Like, we were warriors, we were mighty, we were powerful.
Yeah.
As we move through the generation, as things become easier and we become softer and softer as a race, and
Yeah.
like, I'm immediately thinking, oh my gosh, like, we're just going to become softer and softer because things are going to become easier and easier. And it is. We no longer have to go out and look for food. For example, I'm in a hotel room. It's 24-hour room service. I can pick up the phone now and get a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And as we go through this, and as the world evolves, more and more people are going to be, or not going to be, are depressed and have anxiety and have all these horrible mindsets. And I do believe they're mindsets. And I know that there's proof of chemical imbalances and all these wonderful. But when I grew up in my age, like, I didn't know that even that the word anxiety existed.
Yep.
We didn't use that word in our language. We were sad, perhaps, and then we got kicked out into the back garden and had to go kick a football around. And then we weren't sad anymore because we changed our state and we moved around. And I'm not saying it's necessarily that easy for everyone. Obviously, there's different circumstances and things like that.
Yeah.
But I suppose my concern is that as we move into this metaverse and techverse universe that we're going to, is that it becomes easier for people to slip further into the state of just nothingness, which I think is what a lot of people would explain that feeling, is that they just want to feel something.
Yeah.
And it's easier because they can get it at a push of a button or at a click of a screen, and they can feel. So immediately they can almost feel connection. They can feel, once you feel connection, you feel part of something.
Yeah.
And that's what most people are sort of looking for. From what I can gather, is that feeling of connection. It's the first one that they significance, connection. Where do I fit in this world? And it's like, it just, my mind boggles, and I do, however, I mean, I work for a tech company that's making waves in the world, and I look at the people that I work with, and I'm like, we'll be all right because they're good people. You know, they'll do it. But we're one company, you know, and we're so I hope that the balance is eventually right, you know. But I think it's going to be a long struggle, and it's as exciting as it sounds for some people. I think they should be checking that screen time and rather getting outside and kicking the ball around. It's quite concerning, to be honest.
Grant, like I on all of this, you know, there's lots of interesting stuff happening. Like Elon Musk said a couple of years ago, he said, if you own a smartphone, you're already a cyborg because all of your information is on there. You know, that phone probably knows you better, or whoever can track your data probably knows you better than what yourself or your spouse knows you, you know. So I think it comes down largely, you know, once again, you know, is creating practices, creating rituals and disciplines for yourself so that you can remain mentally healthy, so that you can remain emotionally resilient, you know. And how do we do this? You know, we write things down. We become emotionally intelligent by, you know, deciding what do we want to feel, you know, what is my purpose, what is my vision, you know, and really focusing on that, you know, in contributing, you know, in this world in some way, right? And looking after the physical body, so important. Get outside in nature, move your body, you know. If you're constantly polluting your body with toxins, alcohol, drugs, and all of these things, no judgment towards it, but you are going to feel the effects of it. Because if you think of humans, right, we are actually biocomputers, right? And if you put the wrong fuel in a machine, it's going to start, you know, glitching, so to speak, right? So that's the hardware side. So you have to make sure the hardware, you know, is in decent shape, and then basically the software, which is our thoughts, our belief systems, those things can be reprogrammed and it can be changed, right? Through constantly deciding what do we want to focus on, right? Do we want to focus on what we don't want, on what we don't have, you know, or do we want to focus on the things that we do have and we do want to create? You know, there's so much to speak about in this, let's call it resilience, because resilience is something that's going to be a non-negotiable, you know, in like where we're heading, you know, like technology is expanding exponentially. You know this, you're in, like I said, in a tech space, in a company that's making waves, so you know what's coming in that space. You know, you've already got a great understanding, you know, about, you know, the pitfalls, the possible pitfalls when with an undisciplined mind in tech space, because people are already losing themselves. Kids, you know, they're comparing themselves to models, you know, on Instagram, and a lot of people are doing it. They see these fitness models and they feel bad about themselves because they scroll through this thing and they think, oh, this is how I'm supposed to be, you know. So they create unrealistic expectations for themselves in their mind, and that creates what we speak about, that anxiety, stuff that wasn't around years ago, before there were smartphones, before there were even cell phones. I mean, you know, it was a different time. Anxiety wasn't a thing, didn't exist.
Didn't
Depression even
exist.
wasn't a thing.
It didn't exist. Like, I don't think if you asked my late father about
Yeah,
anxiety, maybe in his later years, he understood or knew what it was about. But
yeah,
when I grew up, when I was riding a bike around the streets and things like that, there was no mention. There's no one worried about that's you know. And again, like, it honesty in my vocabulary wasn't even a word. We
yeah,
didn't even use it, and
yeah,
it's being created. And I mean, there's a massive industry. And again, I'm not saying that people don't. I'm saying that they choose to, and that there are different ways that they can work, and that they should be looking at working, and they should be looking at doing. I think what comes out of this, Charlie, is really, you know, an important thing for me is that if you don't start the process on trying to improve your current situation, wherever you are, whatever that, you know, and take that first step, that first leap, that first little shuffle forward.
yeah,
Um, there's, I want to say, there's no time better to start than now.
Yeah.
But at least be aware that you have to do something, because if you don't, I think the world we're going into is going to be easy just to be sucked in and to be even, less of a meaningful person out there. It's going to be easier just to get absorbed and to be lost into this huge world we're going, because it is becoming, it's becoming one big platform where we're going to
100%.
live. And if you think about the world now, how insignificant you could feel now, imagine in a world where it's all, digitalized and computerized and all these algorithms and all this. It's crazy, man. It's just like, come on, you've got to just do something and figure it out and get going and just start with something, and even if it's just awareness, start with that.
Yeah, Grant. So you speak about, like, just to touch on this last thing, you spoke about a great awakening earlier, right? So people are, it's obvious, people are waking up, since before COVID. A lot of people started, like, kind of waking up to their inner power, to how powerful we are. Like you said, you can become anything you want, if you're disciplined enough and you understand the universal principles and the universal laws, of vibration and polarity and all these things. You can create an extraordinary life for yourself. And people are waking up to that idea. The masters have been teaching it for years. There's a lot of people who kind of now, especially, they speak about waking up and, like you said, following their purpose now and the great resignation. But imagine now going into a dream within this dream. Let's say this is a dream, because what do we wake up from? We wake up from a slumber, right? Now we go into the metaverse and we basically go into a dream within the dream, like in the Inception movie. I don't know if you remember that. So imagine getting caught in a dream within a dream. Like, how deep do you want to go away from who you truly are? That's kind of the question that I've been asking. Like, when I think about this metaverse, and it's weird that it come up, because I haven't spoken about this to anyone actually. It's just like you're in the tech space and you spoke about this great awakening, and it's such an interesting topic. And I think what it comes down to is, like you said, there's no time like now to really focus on mental health, emotional intelligence, and your inner power, really stepping into your purpose and following your passion, because that's where true fulfillment lies, is doing what you love, right?
Yeah.
Doing something you love, feeling like you're contributing to this world, and being happy while doing all of that.
And we're gonna end off soon because we're running short of time. But I read an interesting thing on the flight over when I was coming, but and it made me think, like everyone chasing in what is your why, and everyone's going on what is your purpose, but the point was that your purpose can change as your life changes.
Of course.
And why I say it's interesting, because I've looked back at what I've always meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So for me, my purpose has always been there. But again, I've only realized it or been awakened to it now, and knowing that and it's been there all the time. It's been one sort of vision or end state. I talk my desired end state and that. But your purpose can change. And it's time that people stop. They sit down and they look at where they are. And one thing I do love about the program is realizing where you are.
Yeah.
And being happy with where you are, no matter what the circumstances are. There is always something around you that you can latch on to, that great foundation of happiness and joy and feeling something good. And then growing from there and making sure that you set your North Star and sort of growing and taking that first step and working on how to improve. And again, I go back to a lot of people that I speak to are there to make an impact in other people's lives. And I turn it immediately. I did it last night. What impact are you making on your own life?
Yeah.
And by making an impact on your own life, I use the airline. The first thing they do is they tell you to put the mask on your own face so that you can save yourself first and then help others. And without that process,
Yeah.
you are going to make impact in people's lives, but you're never going to make a meaningful long-term impact on your own. You've got to improve yourself in order to improve others. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's that saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, so you have to fill your cup. You have to be strong. You have to be resilient. You have to be empowered if you want to empower people. It's that simple.
100%. So with that, I think let's hope everyone goes out and fills their cup, and we'll catch up next week and see what we chat about. Have a great one, Charlie. Thanks very much.
Grant, thanks for having me again. It was a good chat. Thanks.